How does the life we have been describing differ from the day-to-day life most of us are living? If you want to refresh your memory of the intellectual basis for what we're saying in these discussions, please do view again or read days through to 6. This will help you to see that Christ is the being inside whom we all exist. When you do that, you'll begin to understand why Paul wrote in his letter to the Ephesians, "But God, who is rich in mercy, out of the great love with which he loved us, even when we were dead through our trespasses, made us alive together with Christ. By grace you have been saved, and raised us up with him, and made us sit with him in the heavenly places in Christ Jesus, that in the coming ages he might show the immeasurable riches of his grace in kindness towards us in Christ Jesus. For by grace you have been saved, through faith, and this is not your own doing. It is the gift of God, not because of works, lest any man should boast. For we are his workmanship, created in Christ Jesus for good works, which God prepared beforehand, that we should walk in them." In other words, God created us in his Son so that he himself would bear personally every affront and trespass that he foreknew would be inflicted by the free will of every human being that would ever exist. And despite that infinite pain, he lifted us out of time-space and remade us in eternity in his Son. This present world is our temporal fallen state, but our actual eternal state exists now in Christ. If we live as if we are dependent on the world for our needs, then we experience the limitations of that. If we live in dependence on the life of the Creator's Son, then we experience the limitlessness of that. Our real choice, then, is between the deformed creature we have become through our dependent attitude to the world, or the original being we were created in Christ. The deformed, perverted old self cannot free itself from a slavish dependency on the temporal world, and the original recreated being can only take its place through our embracing of it in Christ. Thus, faith creates nothing. It simply accepts and treats as real, or it rejects and treats as unreal. In that sense, our attitude determines everything in our lives. Can we clearly distinguish which version of ourselves we are living in? Let's talk about this next time.